You know, I mentioned before in my videos that D.Rose is my favorite NBA player currently at this moment. He's my favorite player because of not just what he does on the court, but what he symbolizes off the court. Now, do I agree with everything the brother does? No. I.e., when he paid for that little JoJo funeral, I felt like I knew where his heart was, but I felt like it sent the wrong message out to not only the world but also people within that community. But all in all, I think Derrick Rose is one of those cats that he doesn't say too much. He don't get out here and try to cause commotion or you try to get some type of attention, but he stands for something. He says a lot by not saying too much. And the other day, Derrick Rose on the court wore a T-shirt that said "I can't breathe" in remembrance of Eric Garner. If you guys are not familiar with that, it was a brother in Staten Island that was harassed by the cops, and one thing led to another, and they ended up choking this man. The man lost, air, basically went semi-unconscious, and later died at the hospital due to the hands of these police officers. Nobody was indicted. It's a big controversy right now, and it's just another symbol that the black life here in this country doesn't mean anything. But we had this reporter come out and basically insulted Derrick Rose, and I thought it was highly disrespectful, and really he's a racist bastard. It says reporter questions Derrick Rose over "I can't breathe" shirt. Thinks NBA player is inarticulate. So because Derrick Rose comes out and tries to show his support for the death of Eric Garner, he's inarticulate. Wow. This is a rotten motherfucker right here. And I'm going to go ahead and read you guys this article here. But, it's crazy how we have people out here that say certain things about athletes or just black people in general. And this is why I say that we got to come together and we got to, put a lot of our differences to the side to unify, because these motherfuckers are on our ass right now. It says Dan Benenstern, a prominent sports radio host, took to Twitter last night and expressed that he doesn't think that Rose understands what he's doing, and even if he did, isn't articulate enough to explain himself. Wow. Cody Westerlearn, I believe that's how you pronounce that, a sports editor for CBSChicago.com, noted that Rose was not available for comments after the game. The point guard was paying a tribute to Eric Garner, the Staten Island man who was choked to death by an NYPD officer. "I can't breathe" were his last words uttered by Garner, and has become a rallying cry for protesters across the nation. On Wednesday, the Staten Island grand jury decided to not indict officer Daniel Pentilino. I don't know if that's how you pronounce that shit, but in the choking death of the 43-year-old. While many love roses on the while many love roses on the court, salute to Garner and the countless protesters of police brutality across the nation, Bernstein seemed to take the condescending tone towards Rose's gestures. The sports news veteran started off by giving Rose credit for doing something Michael Jordan has never had the guts to do. He took a political stand, more important than any game's outcome, he said. However, his praise of Rose was muttered by his following tweets, which seemed to question the basketball player's intelligence and ability to speak for himself. And then these are some tweets from this character. "I just wish D.Rose could talk or really understand what he's doing. I don't think he does, but he deserves to be treated as if so. If D.Rose felt strongly and deeply enough to make that statement, he should be able to say why. We can only hope, but I doubt." So, basically what this cat is doing right here is he's using the fact that D-Rose had the guts to come out here and actually stand for the injustice of Eric Garner, but not just for Eric Garner, but for a lot of the unjustly murders against black folks here in this country. He tries to go against that, but he does it in a slick way. What he does is he comes out here and say, oh, well, yeah, he tries to praise him on one hand, but at the same time say, oh, nigga, you shouldn't be talking about that, though, either. You should just, keep quiet. Don't say anything. Just play basketball. That's basically what this guy is saying in so many words. And, this guy is a racist. You can tell all within his tweets, all in the way he handled this situation here. And what was the point of coming out and saying that D.Rose can't articulate himself? What was the point of that? Like I said, anybody who watches D.Rose, he's a mild-toned guy, well-mannered. He doesn't say too much. He basically speaks with his actions on the court. The guy's phenomenal. He's explosive. And he lets his game speak for him. So D.Rose he has the type of personality where he'll wear a t-shirt or he'll wear, a piece of clothing or something like that to show how he feels, but in a metaphorically way. He's not the one to come out and, have this big long speech or, say certain things in the media like maybe, a LeBron James or a Jim Brown. And like I've said before, everybody has their own way of combating certain issues. The way that you might want to combat certain injustices against black folks is not the way everybody else wants to. And a lot of times people forget that. But, this guy's a racist bastard. And his real problem is that he had an issue with D.Rose coming out and actually taking a stand for Eric Garner and saying, hey, this was wrong, and I want to use my celebrity, use what I do on the court to make a stand for the injustice and the wrongdoing that happened to this man, but not just to Eric Garner, everybody, every black person has been killed wrongfully throughout history. And this racist fuck had a problem with that because his mindset is like, you know what? Yeah, you can have your feelings about things, but don't come out here and say anything. Don't wear any t-shirts. Don't give any type of gestures or any type of signal that you might be in support of those protesters who are trying to combat the injustice things that are going on out here within the black community and across the world. Don't come out and say nothing about that. Stay in your line, your lane, Negro. Play basketball, collect your check, and shut the hell up. That's what this cat really was saying. And he comes out and insults this man's intelligence. Racist fuck. But I'll leave the link in the description box if you guys want to check the link out or, read some of the comments. But, these are the type of characters that try to hold us back, in this country. These are the type of characters that practice white supremacy. And they try to do it in a slick way. Motherfucker.